Hey guys, so in this video I'll be talking about tires and various information about them. So this right here is a basic cutaway picture of a tire. You have it, when you're looking at it, these are the tire treads up here. This is where your measurement is. And when we measure tires, we measure them in 30 seconds. So a brand new tire is usually about 10 to 12, 30 seconds, which is that distance between here from the bottom inside of it up to the very top of it. So as your tire gets worn down, this gets smaller and smaller. And 230 seconds is where you get to when you should start replacing your tires. Once they get to 230 seconds, that's when you'll be recommended to change them, because you lose its intended purpose and you start losing traction and you might slide, especially if you're in rain or snow weather. You definitely need that for a better grip. Tire wear is another thing you learn about in tires. Various different things can cause tire wear. So one thing is when you have outside tire wear, that is due to underinflation, which essentially is what this is right here. So if you get a tire and it's flat and it's underinflated, so it doesn't have enough air, the inside starts to go up and the outside starts to make contact with the surface of the road, whereas your inside doesn't have enough air there and it lifts up a little bit. So this is a kind of an extreme picture of it, but that's essentially what it looks like. So that's why your outside is wearing more than your inside, because it's underinflated, and that's what it'll look like. So you may have essentially 9 30 seconds on the inside, but the outside you only have 4 30 seconds, and that indicates underinflated. Overinflated is the opposite. So if it's overinflated, it expands, and just this center is making contact with it right there, whereas the edges are nice and up here, and only this, like I said, only the center is making contact. And so inside, so it causes just the inside to wear, and that's due to overinflation. Another type of wear they have is edgeware, and that's due to camber. If you want to know more information, I have a video on what camber angles is, but essentially it's when your tire is straight up like this, if it leans towards one side or it leans towards the other side. So in this case, this tire is leaning this way. So because it's leaning this way, only this edge right here of the tire is making contact with the road, whereas this edge out here isn't making any contact. So only this side right here is going to get driven on, which is only going to cause that side to wear. So this side over here, it'll get flat. You'll have 0 30 seconds. Essentially, this will all be erased right here, but this side will be nice and brand new because of your camber angle, not getting any contact over there, only causing one side of the tire to make contact and wear. So like I said, you can have overinflation and underinflation, so that depends on your tire pressure. Tire pressure that I like to put my cars at is about 35 psi. Now it's different for all different type of vehicles, but essentially a light car, a basic daily driver, I like putting mine at 30 psi. If you're not sure exactly what the pressure is, you can open your door and it'll say on your body frame right there, when you open the door, it'll tell what the specifications are for tires. Tire temperature and pressure are related, so it can change a lot. So I like putting mine at 35. So it depends on where you are. Are you in hot weather or cold weather and so on. But 35 psi is about the average, and like I said, that's what I put mine at. Next thing down here is star pattern. For everybody that's put on a tire and does it and knows about cars, typically that's the pattern you should put the lug nuts on. So you can start it anywhere. So let's say I started this one, I go in a star pattern. So I go diagonal here, then to there, then there, and there. So you want to go in that star pattern. You don't want to necessarily go around it or go from to here, then over there. You want to go in a star pattern. So again, if you start here, go diagonal, 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 and then back to the first one. And that's essentially how you tighten them. Simple as that. And like I was just saying, average PSI is about 35 PSI. Then you get the tire measurements on them. All tires have their tire size and different information about it. This is a basic indication of it. So this is a P215 65 R17Z. So what each of these means is the first one, the P, indicates the tire type. So if you get a P, it's a passenger tire, and if you get an LT, that stands for light truck. And there may be others too, like maybe for a sports application and others as well. That's essentially is telling you what this tire is intended for. Is it intended for everyday daily driver? Is it intended for off-roading? Is it intended for big construction trucks, or maybe for racing and so on? But that's essentially what that tells you, what its intended purpose is for. Then you start getting into the numbers. This first number right here, 215, is the width of the tire. So this right here is essentially looking at it from this point of view. So the higher the number is, the wider they are. So people may be asking you, you're putting 305s on it, you're putting 310s, 300s on it. That's the width of the tire. So like this one here, notice how it's only a little bit wide. So it's only essentially like this, whereas this one over here is a lot wider. So this would maybe be for your every daily driver car every day. And this one over here is essentially maybe like a drag radial tire. Because it's wider, you get a lot more contact with the road, and that gives you better grip and allows you to take off much quicker and faster. And wider tires on the front can actually add to better cornering. One of my favorite cars is the 2014 Chevrolet Camaro Z28, and on the front they're like 315s about, I think. But for its time, that was actually one of the most widest, biggest tires on the front for its classic cars. And because of that, it allowed it to corner very well, because it got more contact with the road because it was wide, and allowed it to corner better. Then you go on to the next number, which in this case is a 65. That is the aspect ratio. And that's essentially this little area right here. So it's measured in percentage. So in this case, 65%. This one right here, I show like a 45% or near 50%. And what that is essentially how much sidewall you see. So in this tire, this sidewall, you see a good amount of sidewall. Over here probably be a better example to see. So this right here is essentially a low profile tire. So if you ever see those cars that have a lot of rim and very little sidewall all around it, those are low profile ones. So because you have small sidewall, only a little bit of sidewall compared to that large amount of rim, like a low profile tire, that's what that number is representing. So this one is 20%. Now because it's a perfect circle, you have the same equal amount on both sides everywhere. So because it's 20%, on one little part you'll have 10%, and straight above it on the other side you'll have another 10%. And it's that same distance all the way around. So this, like I said, is a low profile tire, so you'll have a lot of wheel and a little bit of sidewall. Over here you have maybe a smaller wheel, but a lot of sidewall. And that's essentially what that is, and it's, like I said, it's measured in percentage. The next one, the R17, R stands for radial, and that indicates the size of the wheel. So if that's when people tell you, they're putting 19s on it, or you're putting 22s on it, that's the size of the wheel. So if you have 22s, your wheel is 22 inches straight across. It's the diameter of it. Like when you learn about like geometry in a circle, the diameter is from one side to another, and the circumference is the distance around it. So that's what that measures, is the diameter. Just because you have a high number, so say like 22s, you might think, oh, that's a low profile. Well, that's just the wheel itself. So if you get a big, huge construction truck, it may have, even bigger than that, it may have 25s. So this in here may be 25, but out around there may be 45. So just because it's a high number doesn't necessarily make it the a low profile tire. That low profile tire depends on the ratio, whereas this is just essentially the size of the wheel itself. Whereas, like I said, so this could be like a 25, but your outside wheel, it all depends on what that is to determine if it's a low profile or a small one based on ratio. So that's what that is. Again, it's the 17, so this one's the 17 inches. And then the last one, the Z, that is the speed rating. It's in letters, so every letter may indicate how fast you should be going with it. If it's say the letter is an S, that may mean it's intended for maximum speeds of 120 miles an hour to 130 miles an hour. I'm just making that up, but that's what that means. It's your speed rating on what these should be for. So more sports car you have, faster it is, the higher the letter will be. Versus everyday passenger car may be a lower number letter down at the beginning of the alphabet. But again, that last letter is the speed rating for it. A couple other letters that you'll get on a car tire is your DOT. It's your DOT number, and that is essentially its ID code, so they can keep track of it. Just like your car has a VIN number, it can indicate a lot of information about it. So this is an example of a code right here. These first letters can mean different stuff. I believe they mean like these first two mean who made it, so maybe Goodyear or Michelin, and I think the next ones indicate where it was made. But some of the most important one are the last 4 digits. The first 2 indicates the week it was made, and the last 2 indicate the year that it was made. So this one right here, 2116, is telling us that it was made in the 21st week of the year 2016. So if it was 0511, that means it was made in the 5th week of the year 2011. And that just helps you see how old the tire is. Tire could be very good. It could be like, 10 to 12, 30 seconds. But if it was made in, say it says 06, it was made in 2006, that tells you it's an old tire, and by then the material that's made out of could be corroded and you might not want it. So it helps indicate how old the tire is. And then some of the last stuff is run flat tires. Those are tires that you can see on cars nowadays. They basically what they are is they can continue to run after the tire is blown, but that is limited. After that's blown, it'll be limited the speed and distance in order to keep doing it. So if you have a blown tire, it may be rated to go no faster than 50 miles an hour for no more than 50 miles, and you want to get it serviced right away. First, if it's not a run flat tire, that tire will deflate and you'll be essentially running on your rims. So this helps you go a little extra after you run the tire, after you blow it. It helps you continue driving on it. And pretty much it consists of hard reinforced sidewall construction material. So like over here, this top part right here, it may be made out of a strong steel material inside the rubber, and that helps it stay up and inflated. Just a difference of essentially what the material is made out of. And that's pretty much it on tires. There's other information on like camber and caster angles. I have a video on that if you want to watch it, but that's pretty much it on most of the tire material itself and information about it. Thanks for watching.